Hi everyone, welcome to Simple Local Life. It's Jen, and I'm here with my friend Elspeth today at Wile's Lake Farm Market. How are you, Elspeth?
I'm good. We're in the greenhouse. It doesn't get much better. It's warm. It's just not sunny, but it's warm, and you can smell the plants growing.
It's beautiful, and one of our happy places here in the greenhouse, and it's so nice being here for the first time this spring. So because we are in the greenhouse, there's a fan going behind us. I've got my mic on, but maybe if you guys are watching, you can just let us know if you can hear us okay. We don't want to go through the whole thing and then realize you couldn't hear us. But anyway, we're excited to be here. Easter's coming up this weekend. Spring is in the air, Elspeth. A little cool here and there, but still, spring is coming. It's here. It's here.
I describe April as being the cruelest month because we just get a little taste of spring,
Yes.
and then we get a snowstorm. Then we get another little taste, and the rains start, and the temperature drops, and then it goes up to 12 or 15 degrees. So, you
got your windows open one day, you got the heat on the next. That's how it's going at my house.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, build a wood fire, heat up the house, and then it's too warm.
Yeah.
Let it cool. Anyway, it's April.
It is April.
So we're getting ready for Easter here at the market.
Okay.
Hot cross buns all week.
Wonderful.
And if you want them, I suggest you call us, put an order in.
Okay.
And same for dinner rolls for the weekend.
Okay.
We know they're a hot item, and we can only produce so many.
Yeah.
So if you want dinner rolls, call us and put in your order.
So you can place an order now for hot cross buns or dinner rolls, and you guys will have those set aside.
And we do have an Easter box. So if you're thinking about family and having Easter brunch or breakfast, we have a nice box which includes Olden's applewood smoked bacon, which is delicious. Delicious.
You don't know bacon until you've tried that.
Right. And when you serve that, everyone will ask, what kind of bacon did you use?
And they're going to be coming back every year for your breakfast.
It is very distinctive and delicious. And with that, you get a dozen eggs from DeLong's and hot cross buns for $25. You can order it on our site, on our website, on our store, online store.
WilesLakeFarmMarket.ca.
Thank you. And you can also phone us, and we'll put one aside for you.
Okay. So if you're interested in getting that Easter breakfast basket that Elspeth just described, just go on the website. You can order it right there. Give them a call, and then pickup times, though,
Yes, Thursday and Saturday are the pickups.
Thursday and Saturday. So it's great, actually. Like I was telling Elspeth, all my kids are coming home for the weekend, so I'm trying to plan out meals, and I could use that Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. So it's a great time to put that order in. Make sure you can get those really favorite items and pick that up, or anything from the online store, really.
Yes. All is available. If you order in our online store, we will continue to add things from the greenhouse and from other parts of our business, but right now it's mostly our food from the kitchen and from the bakery. You can go online and order, and the way it's set up is that it gives us 24 hours notice. So if you order at 3 this afternoon, you can pick it up at 3 tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
And that's just to give us the time to make sure we have it ready. But it's a very convenient way. We have a lot of our Halifax customers use this because they're on their way to the cottage, and it makes it really simple. But it's also, people sometimes remember that they should order from us, and they can do it after hours, like in the middle of the night. I've noticed some people order at midnight. So anyway,
they're shift workers getting their orders in. And your hours this year for Easter, a little bit different.
Yes. We're open 9 to 6, but we are closed Good Friday and Easter Sunday this year.
Okay.
So Saturday will be a very busy day. So if there are things that you really can't live without for Easter weekend, you should call and put in an order. I can't emphasize that enough. It just makes our life easier. And then you're not disappointed when you come.
That's right. Okay, perfect. So we're all set for Easter. Make a stop here at the market, pick up the hot crust buns and all those goodies. And it is a long weekend, so a lot of people are starting to think about the garden, Elspeth, and doing a little gardening activity.
They are, and I want to show. I'm just going to step aside.
Can you guys hear us okay? I asked earlier, but I noticed there's a few of you on. If you can, just click if you can hear us.
So we're going to talk tomatoes today because if you want to start some tomatoes yourself, this is little tomato plants.
Yes.
If you want to start tomatoes from seed, you shouldn't wait much longer than the next day or so. And probably should have done it earlier in the week. but it's still not too late.
Okay.
And these I just wanted to show you because I'm going to give you a few tips on how to start plants from seed in your own house, and you don't have to go out and buy a whole lot of stuff.
Okay, perfect.
Because I know that gardening supplies can get quite expensive when you start, if you're a new gardener.
Yes.
But there are things that you can use around your house that will work just as well. Might take a little more effort, but it's a great way to use up some other materials.
Okay.
For us, even here where we have access to lots of things, we're using recycled plastic, which came, on some of the supplies that we got in, and we're just using it here.
Perfect.
And so I'm going to show you how to do that.
Okay.
But I want to just show you, these are tomato plants, and they're not quite ready to transplant, but these are ones that we seeded. I have a little date on them. These were seeded on March 28th.
Wow.
And they're just starting to show, they have the true leaves, which is the first 2 leaves.
Yes.
And then they get another set, which that's where you want to be, you want to have 4 leaves before you transplant them into bigger pots.
Okay.
So this is what it looks like for us. We grow a few of our varieties of tomatoes from seed.
Yes.
The others, we contract out the seeding to a greenhouse, and they send us in every week plants that are started for us, and we transplant them out. I can show a tray of those. That people might be interested to see that. But that's the tomatoes.
Lots happening here in the greenhouse.
So this is what we get back. This is impatiens.
Oh.
And you can see on the back, there's a lot of plants. There's 144 plants
Oh my
in there.
goodness.
And they're little. And this is what, we call these a plug.
Plug, yes.
So they're tiny.
Yes.
But we pull these out of the seed tray and plunk that into a hanging basket or into a pack. So we put 4 of these in a pack.
Wow.
So you can see there's a beautiful root system developed and lots of greenery on the top. And it just comes in these trays, which get shipped into us, as I said, every week.
Okay.
And so we don't have to worry about the seeding. There are machines that do this.
Yes.
This tray gets fed into a machine, and little fingers drop down and drop the seed into the little tray.
Wow.
And then it's put in a very warm germination room where the seeds would germinate.
Okay.
So that's kind of the backstory to what we do. But then there are a few things that we grow from seed.
Yeah.
And some of the varieties of tomatoes that we use a lot of, we grow from seed because the seed, this company doesn't grow some of the varieties that we want. So that's what we do.
Okay. Yeah, as Elspeth was mentioning, it's another year with a lot of people, I think, interested in gardening and maybe just gardening for the first time or just started during the pandemic. And, the cost of food is an ongoing topic and issue that we're all dealing with, and the supply chain and everything else. So I think that's kind of sparking a bit of the extra interest in gardening. But like Elspeth said, it can get kind of expensive, especially if you're just starting out.
Right.
So there's lots of ways you can kind of look at how you can do that without kind of going out and just buying new everything.
So there are lots of things available for seed starting, but what I want to show you today is that I'm just using a tray, and this is actually one that's not good enough to use for our other work here. It's damaged. So we've just kind of used it as the base, and we've put potting soil in, about 1.5 inches of potting soil.
Okay.
So at home, you might have, let me suggest, you might have mushroom containers.
Yes.
The little plastic containers for mushrooms. You might have salad containers. If you bought salad in a grocery store, you might have something in your grocery
That rotisserie chickens with those lids.
Yeah. They're not ideal, but they'll work.
Yeah.
They'll work. They're just small, and for most people, you're not growing like us hundreds of seeds.
We don't need 140 right away.
No. So what I've done here is, because this is a tray that has holes in it, I've just taken a clear plastic bag and used it as the liner, so that if you have a tray that has holes, this becomes the liner. It also becomes the little greenhouse. So what we do is put the plastic over when we finish, and I'll show you how to do that. But I've just stretched the bag out and cut the sides open, and then use the little liner to help create this little greenhouse.
Well, that's perfect.
So to germinate seed, you need warmth and you need moisture. And this, ideally you sit where you want, if you want to germinate seeds, you sit it on top. Most people don't have radiators in their homes anymore, but
Not really.
that's
Those
kind of
heat pumps are just not the same,
they're not,
Elspeth.
they're not the same thing. No, we've kind of passed the days of
Yeah.
radiators, although there are a few houses that still have them. But you want to sit this where it's warm.
Yes.
And ideally you need it around 85 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
You know, so it has to be pretty warm.
Quite warm.
So top of the fridge might be a place.
Okay.
You know, or you know in your house where there's a hot spot, and you need to put it there, and you need the heat ideally underneath,
Right.
because you want the soil to be warm
Yes.
and damp. Right now I'm starting with a good quality potting soil that we use here in the greenhouse, and I'm going to put the seeds. What I've done is I've just taken this, and I'm going to get you to hold it, and I'll show people what I've done. No fancy equipment here. I just put my hand in the potting soil and create little indentations in the seed tray.
Okay.
So
perfect.
I'm going to be able to, in this tray, put 5 rows in,
Yeah.
just with the back of my, that's 4. I can't count. 4. So we have little indentations. And then I'm just going to take my seeds, which are in a nice little envelope like this, and they're small. And tomato seeds are quite small. But there are seeds that are even smaller.
Yes.
Lobelia seed, wax begonias are very tiny. And people complain about how difficult it is to manage those when they're trying to seed. My suggestion is mix the seed with sugar. And the reason for that is when you mix it with sugar, that just creates a bigger volume to work with, so that when you sprinkle it, it's easier to do that. The sugar dissolves when you put water on it, and so it doesn't hurt the plant or anything, but it gives you a little bit more volume to work with when you're very delicately spreading the seeds. So right now, and this is like, seed is expensive, you know, again, this is all about not wasting anything.
Yes.
So when you get a little package of tomato seeds, now there's hundreds of seeds in this, but when you get a package, you won't be getting hundreds. You'll get probably, well, it depends on the variety, but if you're planting tomatoes, you would know better, Jennifer, 20 seeds.
I was going to say 20, 25 maybe?
20 or 25 seeds.
Yeah.
And so you want to, every one of those, remember, is a plant, potentially, because generally you should get 95, ideally you want 100% germination, but you should get most of the varieties of tomatoes, you should get 90 to 100% germination. So every seed is valuable. So I know this isn't, I would just, when I'm doing this for here at the market, I usually just take and sprinkle them like this. And you can put them fairly closely, but when you only have 25 seeds, you can actually put one in and then half an inch and then half an inch, you know, to spread them out so that you don't have to worry about like this, which looks like hair on a dog's back. It's very thick, and I know the girls are going to kind of go, "Oh, she did it again." They're a little harder to separate. You kind of rip them apart, and that's not the best. So spreading them out a bit better, like I've done here, is a better idea. Now I know you probably can't see this, but if you've got 25 seeds in a package, put one tomato seed in, then go half an inch and put another one in, another half inch and put another one in, so that when they germinate and come up, they've got good spread between them. And so when you take them apart, which we'll show in a minute, when you take that apart, you're not disturbing the roots too much. So once you've done that, I'm not going to finish this right now because it'll take too long. You're going to just put a light coating of soil over your rows here, or if you have a little mushroom, just sprinkle the soil over to cover it. And then you're just going to take a nice little mister. If you don't have one of these, you absolutely need to buy one, $1 or $2 at the dollar store. And this one is the best. We use these all the time, and it's not at all the dollar stores. There's certain ones that have this mister, but it's a really good one. What you want to do then is mist heavily the tops of the soil. So you're just going to mist this, and you want to get it nice and damp. And then we're just going to flip the end over of your bag and tuck it, in this case, I'm just going to tuck it in underneath. The other thing you should do is label, put a little popsicle stick or a little tag of some sort to say what that is and when you planted it, because
memory is a really challenging thing sometimes.
Right, and you want to know, it's good to keep a little bit of a record, and we do that here. You saw on the end, I've got Scotia, March 28th.
Yes.
So you know the date, and in you know, with tomato seeds, 7 to 9 days at the most, they'll germinate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So now you've got this tucked in, you've got the moisture in there.
Yes.
You put it in the heat, and you're going to get little bits of moisture showing up on top of the on the plastic.
Yeah.
Every day or so, you're going to pull the plastic back and just check. You're going to look. Are they up yet? No. Does it need more water? You're going to spray a little bit more water. Once they come out of the soil, and we're going to just switch to another tray.
We're just like those cooking shows that have everything all prepared.
Yeah. So once they come out of the soil like this,
Yes.
then you're going to just keep the plastic off completely. As soon as they start to come up out of the soil, you have to be really careful that you don't have this too wet, because then you'll start to get mold,
Yes.
and then they'll turn into they'll just wither over and die. It's called damping off, which is a common problem, but if you're not too heavy with the water,
Right.
then you'll be okay.
Do you think once a day that would be Elspeth, or you just should
It's really hard to know because
Yeah.
it depends on how
your-
warm.
and probably on your
location.
bottle what you're using,
Yes,
I guess.
there's a lot of variables
Yes.
here, but the thing is, use warm water,
Okay.
because if you use cold water, you're lowering the soil temperature,
Yeah.
and so that defeats the purpose of putting it in a warm place.
Right.
So not hot water, but tepid, lukewarm water, and spritz it in
Okay.
to keep the soil damp, and so that you create this, like in here, which is lovely for our skin, this beautiful, damp, moist
Warm,
conditions,
yeah.
warm conditions
Yeah.
for those little seeds to germinate. So they need light, and they need moisture to, and I know we're not going to be able to see it on the screen, but if you look here, Jennifer, you can see the little seed
Yes.
coating is here. So once they pop out of the ground, one of those little seed coatings they'll pop off, and the leaf comes out of it. You know, when you think about the fact that in each of those little tomato seeds, something as teeny as, you know, almost a little bigger than a pinhead,
Yeah.
and that has all the material to create a tomato plant. It's quite incredible.
It is incredible. Anytime I garden and I plant things from seed, and then at some point it grows and produces food that then I feed to my family, I make sure to remind them of this every meal, because it's like a miracle. It's like this real, like you said, it's just incredible.
Yeah, something like that tiny on the end of my finger can produce
Yeah.
20 or 25 pounds of tomatoes.
Yes.
Like, I marvel. I mean,
do
I've been at
too.
this a long time, and when I do this and look at this, and I think, this is a miracle.
It is.
It is truly a miracle.
Yeah.
So that's how simple it can be, and how inexpensive you can do this.
Yes.
The thing is, just try it.
Yeah.
Have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Maybe don't go full force. I had a customer in yesterday, and she reminded me that I had given her quite a lot of gardening advice last year. And I remember that. I didn't remember all the specifics, but I remember her asking me a lot of questions. My first thing was, I said, because it was her first year to have a vegetable garden, I said, don't plant too much.
Yeah.
She said, I remember you telling me that, and we planted too much. And she said, after it all grew, she said, she told me not to plant too much,
Yeah.
and here we are.
Yeah.
She said I had too much, and I wasted some of it. So she knows that now. So sometimes you just have to do it and try, and not get too hung up about it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Try a few things. I always suggest grow the things that you love to eat,
Yes.
and then go from there. So
Can't go wrong
that's
with that.
that's simple. So if you haven't planted tomato plants yet,
Yes.
tomato seeds, I think this weekend would be the cutoff.
Yes. Okay.
To have them at a size that they're going to be ready to go into your garden that first 10 days of June.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is usually what I tell them.
Yeah, perfect. So lots of good info there, guys, on planting tomatoes from seed and getting those started. This weekend is kind of the final end. And if you are looking, you know, to kind of planning your first garden or getting ready to garden, you guys have a nice little package here.
We
too.
do. We have a lovely, what we call our spring seeding box.
Yeah.
So again, you can order it online,
Yes.
or you can call us and we put one aside for you. It includes a pack, a little bag with seeds that we know you can plant right now. Like if you, particularly if you have a raised bed. Spinach likes cooler conditions.
Yes.
Peas like cooler conditions. Lettuce, this is a Grand Rapids, this is a leaf lettuce that likes cooler conditions for growing. Mesclun mix, which is a nice mix of colored greens, of sorted greens, likes cooler conditions. And radish. All of these, if you have a raised bed that's quite dry, you could likely plant this. You might want to put plastic over it
Yes.
to create a little bit of an environment to help germinate the seed. But these are things you could plant sooner than later.
Well, that would
And-
be a great activity this weekend too,
It would be.
because a lot of people are starting with raised beds.
Yes,
It seems.
yeah.
And it would be a good chance to. I bought a hoop last year, but I didn't get to use it yet. So I think I'm going to put some
Yeah.
things in this weekend with my hoop.
So the spring seeding box includes the packages of seed.
Yeah.
You get a bag of seed compost,
Yes.
and you also get potting soil. So it's a nice little package to
Yeah.
get you started.
That's great.
It's probably not all you want to plant, but it's something.
Now
to,
remember your lesson, Elspeth.
I know.
Don't plant too much.
Well, and-
if you're a beginner.
And a little reminder is
Yeah.
there's enough seed in here for the whole summer of,
Yes.
of mesclun mix. So just plant a little bit of it at a time, and every 2 to 3 weeks replant, so that you have lettuce that extends over the whole season, and you don't have all of this lettuce that you think you need to buy to bring in the community's rabbit population to eat. There you have it.
Well, this was great. It's always good to have these kind of reminders and good demonstrations from Elspeth giving us all the tips on starting tomatoes from seed. I know a lot of people, that's kind of a favorite, is growing tomatoes.
Yes.
And there's so many different varieties here, and you guys have all the seeds down in the greenhouse that you can have a look at and pick from. Well, this was very helpful, and I'm ready to get back out and get some seeds going this weekend too, Elspeth.
Well, the greenhouse is open April 22nd, so that's next
Oh
Friday.
my gosh, that's right.
We have a lot of work to do. It's like having a party and inviting
I was
everybody
thinking
to
that
come.
was weeks away. I'm like, oh, that's next weekend.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we'll be ready by
You'll
next
be ready.
Friday. We're
Oh,
not
wow.
ready yet. The seeds are all in the market,
Yeah.
and there's lots of tomato seeds there.
Yeah.
The Wenzel tomato seeds were out of today, but Chris, I talked to her this morning, and she's bringing more in the next couple of days.
Okay.
The Wenzel tomato is the one that's indigenous to Lunenburg County, developed by the Wenzel family.
Wow.
Surprise, surprise! At the farm that's now Windhorse Farm.
Oh.
So
lovely.
it's very similar to the brandy wine.
Yes.
So it's an heirloom variety. Not beautiful in shape,
right.
but fabulous flavor.
Oh,
That's the Wenzel tomato.
have to try those, I
Yeah.
think, this year. Anyway, well, thank you so much, Elspeth, for all the tips. And if you guys have any questions about starting tomatoes or anything else, just leave them below, and we'll be sure to get those answered for you. Well, you've got some work to get to, Elspeth.
I do.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you again.
See ya.
Bye-bye.